Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I was quite disappointed tonight to find out Daniel Radcliffe wasn't coming here tonight. But it's okay, because I think I'm quite a reliable substitute. Me and Daniel have a lot in common. We both look incredibly young for our age. We both come from inward-looking institutions far, far away, where people wear silly gowns. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we both share the same vision for London. We both believe that London is amazing. That's why our proposition team, along with Daniel, want to argue for why we should become an independent state here in London. How exactly are we going to do this? Well, I'm going to tell you several things which will make up our model, our definition. First of all, we'll issue London passports, and on the front, we'll probably have symbols of London, probably a kebab and a bendy bus as our emblem. Around the M25, we're going to erect a border with massive walls and have passport control to make sure no one from Leeds or Southampton or any city that's not London gets in easily. Third of all, we're going to introduce a currency, that's right, new currency, and we're going to have the pictures of key influential Londoners who shaped London for the better. On one side of our £10 note, we're going to have Boris Johnson. On the other side, we're going to have Dizzy Rascal. We're also, ladies and gentlemen, going to erect an army. We don't envisage having a big army because we reckon in today's world it's not about how many guns you have, but it's how rich and wealthy you are. So we'll have a small token army just in case someone like Oxford or, God forbid, Bradford try to invade London. We'll elect our own president, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to fight for a UN seat on the Security Council. That's right, a seat for London. What argument? No, thank you. On top of that, you might hear an argument from these guys that might say, well, if you want London to be independent, why not have Leeds being independent, or Manchester, or Glasgow? And the answer to that is, if they want to declare independence as well, we don't care. We think, ladies and gentlemen, the more countries there are in the world, the better. We have no problems if people want to follow London's line in becoming independent, but it's important that this debate isn't about what's good for people outside the UK, or what's good for Londoners. We're going to give you 3 arguments today, ladies and gentlemen. One, why I think this policy is fair. It's fair because it means instead of subsidising the other regions in this world, in this country, we're going to keep the money in London. Second of all, we're going to look at foreign policy. Why I think this means Londoners will become more influential on the global stage. And finally, I'm going to look at why my partner is going to look at why London is unique. It's got unique problems like the race issues, crime, various integration issues, which I think having its own government will actually benefit. So let's first of all look at our first point about why it's fair. Now, London's quite a rich place, and there's a grand building. Not many people have a gherkin-shaped building as their sort of town hall. Probably illustrates the wealth that we're surrounded in. But the problem is, despite raising an incredible amount of corporation tax, because lots of companies come to London and stay here, despite having lots of rich individuals living here and paying high taxes, most of that money doesn't get kept in London. A lot of that money gets sent to other places in the United Kingdom, other poorer places like Leeds, like the North in general. Not to say that those places are bad, just that those places don't have as much money as London does. So London subsidises lots of these places outside. Now, we think it's a good idea. No, thank you, guys. We think it's an incredibly good idea if we keep the money in London. If we raise taxes and keep it here. Why? Because it means your taxes become lower, and we only need to look at places like Luxembourg, like Qatar, small countries where taxes are incredibly low because they're supporting fewer people, but they're incredibly rich. I think that's good for you, and it's good for me. On top of that, we think it acts as an incentive for other places outside of London to get their act together, to try and become financial centres of their own. Instead of relying on London to attract all the high net worth individuals, all the corporations, instead it gives an incentive for people to grow themselves. That's why I think it's fairer. Second of all, on foreign policy, quite frankly, the situation right now is that the United Kingdom represents 56 million people and only has one voice on the UN, in the UN. If London became an influential part of the UN by becoming an independent country, it means Londoners have an incredible amount of influence. Instead of having one seat for 56 million, we have one seat for all of Londoners. I think that means you and I have much more influence on our leaders. We then have much more influence on the global stage. Instead of sharing power and sharing votes with people from other states. That's why it's a good idea, because it improves our power on the global stage. And in today's modern world, it's about economic power and not military power. And I think that's why we need to declare independence. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you think taxes should be lower, and I think they will be lower if we become independent, if you think that we'll become much more powerful on the global stage, and I promise to tell you about why London in itself is unique, I think you should vote for our side. Don't listen to their arguments about how it might be difficult. It's ridiculous. I think what's important in this debate is realising that London is great, it's fantastic, and if you don't vote for our side, myself and Danny Radcliffe are going to be incredibly sad. We beg you to vote for us. Thank you.